Guys, welcome back. I hope you are doing great. Let's go through the Git for VS Code in this particular video, right? What I'm going to do here is trying to replicate as if you have never used GitHub and you are completely new to GitHub. I will be going through account creation of GitHub, and then we will go through and use my existing video. Let's say that you are watching my video of this function calling with API, and there is this GitHub code, how you can use this code for yourself, right? And then I will use those in GitHub Codespaces. This is completely beginner's video, so if you have some knowledge about Git or GitHub, I will place the time stamps in the video. Feel free to jump between different portions of the video, or even feel free to completely skip the video if you already have the knowledge of Git and GitHub. By the way, if you are new to this channel and if you find the contents that I am creating useful, feel free to subscribe to the channel because there are many videos on the pipeline. Until now, I have created the videos related to large language models and stuff, and I haven't even created the videos related to data science kind of thing. So there will be many videos related to those. If you want to get notified about those videos, feel free to join this channel. Now let's get to the content of this video. Okay, let's say that you are watching this function calling and other API updates video and you want to try it yourself. What you can do is, if you scroll down here on the description section, there is the links, right? And there are many other links, and one of the link is GitHub code. So if you click this GitHub code, now we are on the GitHub, right? So in order to run this code by yourself, what I recommend you to do is first fork this particular repository. As you can see here, many people have already forked this repository and also start. So if you like and if you find the information helpful, please also consider giving the star for the repo. It helps to reach many people. And let's say that you want to use this particular repo for yourself. You can even open in the Google Colab for this particular notebook. But let's say that you have many things here, right? I have all the stuffs related to what I create in YouTube in this particular YouTube stuffs. Let's say that you want to use some of these, right? So what you can do is first go and make this repository your repository, right? For that, you need to go and click this fork, and you need to have a GitHub account, right? And as I'm simulating as if I was one of you, now what I need to do is, this is how I will sign in if I already have the GitHub account. I don't have now, let's say, and I need to create a new one, right? So I can click this create an account. It will take us to the main page here. It says here, enter your email address. Here is the email address for me, basicsdatascience@gmail.com, right? I can say continue here. Now you need to provide the password here, right? So you can go and provide the password here. I will provide something here. As you can see here, now it says password is strong, right? So what I can do is continue. So it says here, enter a username. I can just say here basics and data science. Let's say I have this username. It says basics data science is available, right? If somebody has already taken this, it will not allow us to do, right? Now I can say continue, and it says, would you like to receive product updates and announcement via email? I don't want it, so I have no here, and then continue. It still says verify your account. Please solve the puzzle to verify that you are human. It says start puzzle. So yeah, let's start the puzzle. Pick one square that shows two identical objects, right? So here, which one is the identical objects that have? I think this one, right? It's done. And now there is again another one. You can just look around here. Okay, this one, it says done. We are verified. What we can do here is create the account. So now it says here, okay, save this. Okay, I can save it for now. And it sent the launch code to basicsdatascience@gmail.com. We need to provide the code here now, right? Okay, I provided the code there, which came in my email address. And here it says how many team members will be working with you. I can just say just me here and then continue, right? So here there are many things. What specific features are you interested in? You can choose whichever you want and say continue. Now, as you can see here, it says which teams collaborate and ship where, right? I can say free plan for now, which has 2000 CI/CD minutes right, per month, and all the different things here. The thing that I'm going to show you is in the GitHub Codespace. So here is the thing called 120 core hours of Codespace compute is free if you have this free account. I'm going to go with the free account. So continue with free. As you can see here, now our account is being created, right? Initializing your dashboard. This is how you can start. This is my landing page here. I can go back to YouTube. Now if I click this GitHub code, it takes me here, right? And now I am already logged in with my email here, right? Basics data science. What I can do now is first I will start this because I like this, let's say. And now I can go here and watch. If you want to watch, if I push some updates to this particular repository, you will get the notification. You can go here and say watch. So participating and mentions all activities. I can just say participating and mentions, right? And then what you can do here is fork this repository. So I will do this, right? So what happens is now you can just create a new fork, right? You can give this name here, or you can give some other name, and then this repository contains most of the Python code. You can modify this, but I'm not going to do anything here. So I'm just going to say create fork. So this is the recommended way for you to use the repository of someone else to make your repository. As you can see here, it says now basics data science YouTube stops, but it is being forked from Sudarshan Koirala YouTube stuff. Now we are in this particular GitHub repository and we are in the main branch, right? So there is one branch and main branch, and now there is the option here. You can go here and clone this particular repository, https, ssh, github CLI, all the different things. I'm not going to go through this in this particular video, but if you want to clone this in your local VS Code or some other editor, you can just go and click this copy icon and then do the git clone in your particular local machine. But now there is the option to use the Codespace, right? So Codespace is free, as I said before, provided by GitHub itself. I'm going to work this in GitHub Codespace. For that, what you can do is create Codespace on main, right? So if I click this one, so it is going to create a GitHub Codespace for me, meaning that it is going to fire some virtual machine for me where I can run the code. Now if you see here, it is being used. So this is what I mostly show you when I create the videos. I create the Codespace and start writing code here, right? So I can close this one. As you can see here, it is already being created, the Codespace, and the terminal is already here. By the way, one good thing is if you want to see, there is already the Conda being installed. If you are familiar with Conda and working with Conda, the Conda is already being installed in this particular GitHub Codespace, as you can see here. And also the Python things, as you can see here, if I type python-v, Python is already installed. So you don't need to install Python or Conda or all the different things. So what next, right? Let's say that we want to use some of these things. As I said before, I was going to use the OpenAI function, right? Now let's go to OpenAI function inside the LangChain. If you go here, there is this OpenAI function call, right? So this opens, and now it says that do you want to install recommended Python extension from Microsoft for Python language, right? This is what I showed you in my previous video. We have the Python, but I can just say here install. So it is going to install now, installing, right? I can close this, go back here. But let's say that you want to run this. If I go here and run this particular thing, it says here install suggested extensions Python plus Jupyter. This is what I showed you in my previous video. You can just click this one, and here it is saying installing Jupyter extension, right? So this is how you can run this particular notebook. But just for demonstration purpose, I'm going to open the Python file to show you how it works. So this is the VS Code Python example I showed in my previous. Here there is nothing here. Okay, I didn't actually push the things that I made the changes. What I can just say here now is, as you can see here, there is nothing here, right? So I can just write here print, and I can say hello world, right? I can save this. So now there are many ways how you can use Git. One is from the terminal commands, and the next one is from the UI. when you are using the GitHub Codespace, as you can see here, once I modify this print hello world, there is something being popped up here. This is the icon for Git source control, right? If I click this one, here it says there is something being changed in this particular file, and this is the file, right? If you can see here, there is this thing called open file. This is being opened here. Here is the thing called discard the changes. So if I run this, it will discard the changes here. And there is this plus icon which says that stays the changes. So that is how it works in Git, right? So if I say stays the changes, so as you can see here, some blue things popped up here, and now it is being staged, and there is this yum icon being shown here. That means that index is modified. Now if you go back, here is the file, right? If I go to this LangChain, and if I go to this, not LangChain, sorry, but if I go to this VS Code, and here, this is the empty file, right? There is nothing here. If I go here, I made some changes, right? And I staged here. And I can go here and write some command. Added hello world, right? This is the commit message I want to send. This is just a random example for you. So if I press this commit, now it is being committed, but I haven't pushed this, right? So push one commits to the origin main, right? But you need to push this change. For that, if you just click this sync changes, it says here this action will pull and push commits from and to origin master. I can say okay. If I do this, now it says, would you like VS Code to periodically run git fetch? I can say yes or no. I can say no for now, right? Now we push these things, right? If you go back to the GitHub and now refresh this page, let me refresh this. Okay, as you can see here, there is this print hello world being pushed in our GitHub from this GitHub Codespace, right? This is one thing which is already being provided for us in the VS Code. But if you want to go with some extensions, you can go to this extension tab here, and here what you can search is GitLens. If you search for GitLens, just to show you how it works, I can go here, and now as you can see here, it is being installed, right? So if you go back here, and there is this GitLens being shown here, and here is this GitLens inspect, right? Before we just had the source control which is shipped by VS Code for us, but now we have this GitLens. And what happens by this GitLens is, now as you can see here, when I go to the same file, here it says you 2 minutes ago added hello world. And if you just hover here, it shows you what is being added, right? So here it says print hello world is being added with the plus sign, and no new line at the end of the file, and there are something mentioned here, right? Yeah, this is the good way of seeing what has been changed. And by the way, if you just go here on the top, there is this icon here. If you click this icon, it will show you two things here. This is the previous one where we didn't have anything, but this is the one that we added, right? Print hello world. So you can just visualize what has been changed. And here there is show revision commit. If I click this commit, as you can see here, it says added hello world, right? This is what the commit message we sent before, right? And there are many other different commands that is being provided by the GitLens. So this is really easy way to just see, okay, what has been changed and all the different things related to Git, but more easier manner than the normal this version control or source control that is being provided by the VS Code. Now let's say that I add something here more. I can just say again print and hi. This is just a sample example here, right? Now there is being something changed, and there is this green things popped up here, and here it says you 1 second ago uncommitted changes, meaning that in this file there is some uncommitted changes, right? And it is also shown already in this source control also that okay, there is some change that is done, right? So now let's say that you want to push this with the commit message. Now let's say that you want to push this again. You can go here again and stage the changes. Click this one. Now it is staged, right? and now you can write the change, added some more info, right? And then you can press the commit, and now there is still the sync changes. I can just click this, I can say okay, and now if you go to your GitHub, there is only hello world before, but if you refresh this now, there is print hi. That is how you can make the changes and push this to your particular GitHub repository. One thing what I recommend you to do is when you are learning new things, please click the links or icons and explore, right? If you go here on the sidebar, there is the GitLens. If you click here, there are many things appeared here. So there is the commit graph, there is commit details, there is commits, there is focus and file history, all the different things, right? If you click this commit graph, it is going to open a new thing here. If you see here, there are all the different things. This is what we did in this particular things after we had this GitHub repo being forked, right? But it will show all the history which the original repository has done the changes. This is the good way also to see what has been changed, right? And another thing what I want to show you here is there is the only the main branch here, right? But in practice, I highly recommend you to create a new branch and start working on that and only merge those changes in the main branch. So that is how in the normal software engineering practice also we follow, right? For that, what you can do is go to this source control, and here there is this branches, and now there is just one branch called main, right? What you can do now is create a new branch. How can you do that? If you go here and place this plus icon, it asks us to create a branch. Here is the main branch. Branch named main already exists, so you need to give some other name. I can just say the test branch. Here it says please enter the branch name, press enter to confirm. I can say enter. So now it is asking you some other different things. Create branch and switch, cancel. Create branch and switch means that it will be creating the new branch and we will go inside that particular branch, right? Let's do that. Create branch and switch. If I click this, as you can see here, now we are on the branch. So there is two branches being shown here, main and the test. And whatever we will be doing here now will be on our test branch. If you go to the code part now, and if you go here and maybe let's change something here, right? I will do here print and test branch just to show you that this is a test branch and we are working now on the test branch. I just save this with Ctrl S. Now what you can do, as soon as you save here, there is the thing popped up 1 here, means that we need to push something now. So I can add this plus icon. Now it is staged. Now you can write some message, right? We can say is added print statement in test branch, right? You can press this commit and publish the branch, right? You can click this publish branch and now it is being published. If we go to the GitHub, now we had just the main branch before, right? Let me refresh the page. So now if you go here, there is this test branch also being created. But why is this just print and print, two prints? Because we added a third print, right? Because we are on the main branch. Now if we go to this test branch, as you can see here, there is all the things are the same, meaning that all the things that we had in our main branch before we created this test branch will be copied in this new test branch and we will have the things that we have here. This is the print test branch, right? What you can do now is after you do some changes, you can merge this into the main branch. So for that, what you need to do, you can do from this GitHub UI itself. If you go to this pull request part, and now here it says test has recent pushes 1 minute ago, compare and pull request, right? So if you click this one, so it says here it's able to merge. So what we are doing is from the base repository Sudarshan Koirala YouTube stops, right? Base here, and there is this head repository is this. This is something that you need to consider, and there is compare test. But we want to push this to our particular things. But if you see here, when you do the pull request, what happens here is it is shown my branch here. This is different scenario here, because what you can do is the pull request to the original branch, right? Here is the original branch, but let's not go through the original branch, but let's go to this basics data science branch that we just created. So now this is being changed to the basics data science, right? What we can do here now, this is the main, the test branch is going to be merged in the main branch, right? You can write something here, all good, ready to merge, right? Then you can just create a pull request. Here I am just doing two things by myself, but in the real scenario there will be someone else asking for a pull request, and there will be a review, and you need to review if the code is okay or not to be merged in the main branch, and you can merge those things, right? So here it says this branch has no conflicts with the base branch. I'm not going through the conflict things here, but if there is some conflict, then it will not allow us to merge into the main branch. So here you can just say merge pull request, right? If you just click this merge pull request and you confirm this, if I confirm this, now it says pull request successfully merged and closed, and I can delete the branch also. Just to show you what is happening here, let me open this in new tab. So now as you can see here, it says here basics data science merge pull request 1 from basics data science test. So if you go here, there is still the test branch, but now the things has been changed to the main branch. If I go to the code here, this is the VS Code example, and this is the Python example, right? Now as you can see here, before we just had these two print statements in the main branch, but now in the main branch we had these three different print statements because we merged the test branch into the main branch. But still there is this test branch, right? Let's say that we don't want this test branch because it is being merged now, right? What you can do here, that's the reason I showed you in the different tab here. You can say delete branch here. So if you click this delete branch, so here it says that, okay, branch successfully deleted. You are all set. The one code space for test can be safely deleted. If you wish, you can always manage your code space in the setting. This is related to code space, right? Now, if you go to the main branch and refresh this page, the test branch is not here anymore because we just deleted the test branch. So what we did here, let's summarize. First, we worked on the main branch and we did some change, right? We write something here. This was not in the original Sudarshan Koirala YouTube stuffs. It was empty. We forked this particular thing from that particular repository. We did some changes with these two of these print statements in the main branch. We created a test branch and added this print test branch commit message. And we merged that test branch into the main branch. And then we deleted the test branch so that there is no test branch here, right? That is what we did until now. And if you go to the VS Code here, if you go to this particular project here, we have this thing and it says here added print statement in the test branch, right? So this is the commit message we added. If you don't want to have this thing popped up here, I recommend in the beginning just to have this popped up here. But if you don't want to show these commit messages or you 6 minutes ago or something like that, what you can do is in the keyboard, press Ctrl+Shift+P and blame. So here is saying toggle open blame prior to change, toggle file blame, and if I click this, it is gone, as you can see here. So now we don't see these things, but if you want it to be back, same thing, Ctrl+Shift+P, and you can just go here and say toggle file blame, and now it is shown back here. So you know that who committed the changes at what time and what is the commit message. Now what I want to show you is how to do the things that we did before from the terminal, because not all of you want to use the UI and most of you might prefer the terminal part, right? So what we can do is go to these three lines, hamburger menu, go to terminal, new terminal, right? So here is the new terminal now. It says YouTube stops, and main, right? So what does this main means? The main means that we are on the main branch, right? So if you want to know what are the different branch, you can just type git branch dash a. It will show you the different branches. So here, as you can see here, there is remote origin test, remote's origin main, remote's origin head, test, and main, right? We created the test branch also before, so there is the test branch also shown here, and there is this main branch also shown here. By the way, we deleted the test branch from the GitHub, but it is showing here because this is similar to working in your local computer, because this is different server running in GitHub Codespace. So it is not what it is shown here. There is no test branch here, but it is still shown in here, right? You need to be careful. You can delete this if you want, but let's not go through that. But what I want to show you now is make some changes and implement here. Let's say that you are on the main branch here, and you maybe think that, okay, if there is some other changes, you can just do git pull and it will pull all the changes. If there is nothing being changed, it will show you already up to date, right? So you know that you are up to date with the main branch. Now let's replicate the thing that we did before. I will not go through many steps here, but let me go to this VS Code example again, and this same file, and now I can just add here again another print statement. Let's say terminal stops, and I save this, right? So when I save this, there is the changes as it pops up here, right? But now let's not go through the UI part, let's go through the terminal part. Let me clear the screen. So how do you know that you did some changes, right? The first thing that you need to remember is git status. So if you run git status, it will show you here that, okay, on branch main, we are on the main branch, your branch is up to date with the origin main, changes not staged for commit. So as you can see here, and it also shows you how you can use git add file name and to update what will be committed, and git restore file to discard the changes in the working directory. Let's say that you don't want this thing to be remaining here. What you can do is just to git restore file, and this is the thing that is being changed here, right? What we can do, just to show you, let me discard this from here, just from the terminal, right? So I can do git restore, and what is the name of the file? VS Code, right? I need to go inside VS Code, that is the folder name, and there is this VS Code underscore python.py, right? If I run this command, as you can see here, this thing just disappeared from here. There was these new things that I just added, and now if I do git status, yeah, it says we are up to date with the origin main, and these things just disappeared from here. By the way, just using the git commands also, you know what command you need to type next, right? So now let's go and again bring this. How can you bring this? You can just go here and do Ctrl+Z, right? That is easiest way. Let's save this again, and if I go here, let me clear the screen. If I do git status, now there is the change, right? Let's follow what is saying here, git add and file name. So that is the next command. So git add, and you can give the file name. The file name is, we need to first go to the folder and then give the VS Code underscore Python example.py, right? If I run enter, now this is similar to what we did before here in the UI. It changes to the green icon, right? So now if we do again git status, you can see that this red changed into green. And now once we add this, it is just suggesting us, okay, now you can do the git restore if you don't want to have that stage happened to on stage, right? Let me clear the screen again, or let me make this bigger here. What is next thing? We can commit the changes now. So you can type git commit dash yum for message, and then you can provide with the quotation marks something here. We can say another print statement added, right? If you type enter, now it says here, okay, another print statement added is the commit message. If I do here git status again, It says on branch main, your branch is ahead of origin main by one commit, because we added this commit which is not pushed to the GitHub. It says here git push to publish your local commits. What we can do here now is just to git push. If you run this, it says here all the different things, what is happening step by step. Now this is being pushed to GitHub. So if we go to the GitHub, here we just have 3 print statements. Now if I refresh this page, as you can see here, now there is print terminal stops. By the way, when we are doing all the different things, the UI also showed here some changes, and it disappears when there is no changes in the code using this particular terminal commands. And one more thing that I want to show you here is when you use the GitHub Codespace, all the things will be mentioned in this Codespace. If you go here, you can see that what you are running is shown here, and it is providing some random name. By the way, I have already created a video about GitHub Codespace in details. You can refer to that particular video, but it is shown here, and I highly recommend you to go to this particular 3 dots and stop this Codespace, or you can even rename this if you want, so that you know that which project is inside this particular GitHub Codespace, right? And then you can stop this so that you are not using the free resources provided by GitHub Codespace. So now this is not running now, and if you want to run this again in the next, you can just go to these 3 dots, and here it says open in, and it says open in browser. You can open in the browser. You can open in Jupyter Lab, that is another thing. You can open in JetBrains gateway, and you can even open in the Visual Studio Code that you have locally downloaded, but you need to configure again that step. I'm not going to go through that, but if you just click this, it will ask some things to configure, then you are good to go. So yeah, that is what you need to be careful, because don't waste your free space or code space resources that has been provided to you. By the way, if you just follow what I went through in the GitHub Codespace, then you don't need to configure anything. But if you want to follow this locally in your computer, first you need to have the VS Code. So please go to this website and download the VS Code for your particular machine. And also you need to have the Git installed in your system, right? And you can follow this one link. I will provide the link in the description, or you can follow the setup things from the GitHub docs itself. Set up Git, right? Setting up the Git, download the latest version of Git, set up your username, set up the commit email address, because we need to authenticate also to say that, okay, I am the right person to use that particular repository, right? You cannot just add or commit to any repository you want. Just to show you that I have in the GitHub Codespace, it is already being configured. If you go to this particular document, and if you go down here, there is this git config user.name, right? What I can go to my GitHub Codespace, I can paste here. So if you see here, it says git config user.name is basics data science, right? So this is already being configured if you are using GitHub Codespace, because we opened this GitHub Codespace already from the GitHub, right? So we don't need to configure all the different things. I highly recommend going with the GitHub Codespace in the beginning, but if you want to follow this in your local computer, please configure the first things that you need to do following this particular document. I will provide this in the description. Yeah, that's all for this video. It went quite long, but why I created this one is because everything you need to do is related to Git, and you need to know how Git works on a higher level. So now I hope you can quickly go to some particular GitHub, fork that particular repository and clone that in your local computer or GitHub Codespace, do some modifications, create branch, and then push that into your main branch, and all the different things. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.